Alright guys, so welcome to this week's episode. We've decided to do this episode a little bit different. I had lots and lots of questions lately, and this is why we've decided to do this episode here, is why did we buy a hurricane damaged boat?
And how much did it cost?
Exactly, that was the key question. Everyone keeps asking, how much did it cost? How much is it going to cost? How much have you spent so far? Everyone wants numbers. Yeah. So we've decided to throw an episode together for you here now, and try and give you a bit of information about why we've done it and how much it's cost us up to this point.
Hi, I'm Erica, and this is my fiance Davey. We are living aboard our new to us hurricane-damaged catamaran, Barefoot 2.0. We met in Fiji 3 years ago and have experienced so many beautiful places together. For the past 2 years, we've made the ocean our home, starting on our Catalina 36 in the States and the Northern Caribbean. We hope to one day circumnavigate the globe, but for now we are fixing our boat one step at a time. Subscribe to our channel to follow our journey. When faced with a challenge, look for a way, not a way out.
Alright guys, so welcome to this week's episode. We've decided to do this episode a little bit different. We've had a lot of trouble with weather this last week. I know a lot of people are following because you want to see the progress on the hardtop. And if you know anything about fiberglass, when it's raining, especially when you're working outdoors, it's raining, and then when it's drying in these temperatures as well, once for example, the floating dock gets wet, all that moisture has to come out of the air, and it causes very large amounts of humidity. So we've been struggling this week to get much done. We've got a little bit.
Yeah, but there's been a tropical storm going on the south side of the island. Then we had Tropical Storm Laura last week before it turned into the hurricane. So it's just been really difficult to get work done. And the part of the hardtop that we're at right now is very repetitive. It's strengthening it up. So in order to make an informative and interesting video for you guys, we've decided to put that off until next week. Otherwise, I don't want to bore you.
Yeah, we don't want to bore you and just show you that we've done a 2-foot section of hardtop with a bit of strength. And I mean, to be honest, it would just be completely boring. Yeah. So let's put something better together for next week.
We have sourced some paint, so stay tuned. Next week, we will 100% get back onto that hardtop. Exactly. And
but we've also had lots and lots of questions lately, and this is why we've decided to do this episode here, is why did we buy a hurricane-damaged boat?
And how much did it cost?
Exactly. That was the key question. Everyone keeps asking, how much did it cost? How much is it going to cost? How much have you spent so far? Everyone wants numbers. Yeah. So we've decided to throw an episode together for you here now, and try and give you a bit of information about why we've done it and how much it's cost us up to this point.
And how much we reckon it will cost us.
Well, maybe. Who knows what that magic number will be.
Okay, so to start, why a hurricane-damaged boat? After spending a lot of time a few years ago, in Georgetown in the Bahamas, we spent a lot of time on our friends' catamarans, and having the space on anchor is just incredible.
So a big shout out to Island Time.
Yeah, Island Girl.
Island
Time in
Island
Puerto
Time,
Rico.
Island Girl,
Dragonfly.
Yeah. There's a Mahini.
Yeah.
So many friends with catamarans. But yeah, so we really enjoyed our time on those.
And when you're cruising, you do spend like 90% of your time on anchor, 10% of your time traveling between islands. We've been swayed towards the catamaran side. I definitely prefer.
You don't like flying bugs, though, do you?
No.
It's alright, it's leaving.
No, it's not. Going downstairs.
You're going to cut this one.
So, a few of the crossings that we did on Old Barefoot, they were a little bit rough, and the heeling and the big waves was a little bit scary for me. So that's another reason why I was very interested in the idea of a catamaran.
I love the space of a catamaran. But the reason we bought a hurricane-damaged one, so that's a big question we keep getting asked by people. Pure and simple is the answer: cost. Catamarans are very expensive. Yeah. There was no way we're going to afford this on the savings that we had and the wages we're making in the Cayman Islands.
Not if we were going to work for 5, 10
Yeah, we'd have to work for a very
years.
long time, or take out a loan, and we don't want to have a loan. We want to be debt-free. Yeah. So we have skill sets between the two of us. We work really good as a team, and I have some skills that I'm actually quite well educated in fixing stuff.
Really?
Well, I seem to have proven it so well so far.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below.
Leave a comment below. So we decided we can do this. we've seen other people do it. There's lots of stuff going on out there on YouTube and friends and family and people we've seen doing it.
Yep.
And we're like, we can do this too. So that was the main reason why did we go with the hurricane damage finances. We couldn't, if we could afford a brand new Outream or a Seawind,
like
or
everyone else
is getting Seawinds these days, aren't they? Anyway, good luck to you. We love Seawinds. But if we could have afforded that route, we would have done it, but we can't. So we're gonna work our way up, and this is the way that we can afford.
So how did we find this boat, babe?
How do we find it? Well, there's this. Erica always used to laugh and tell all our friends and family, what's Davey doing when he's not at work, whatever else, and she called it boat porn.
Yeah, all the time.
Boat
all
porn.
The time.
So yeah, I didn't surf those dodgy channels where you're looking at girls. I was searching channels looking at damaged boats.
So we found it on Craigslist. It was also listed on a couple other places as well, but the main one was Craigslist. So it was listed for $65K.
65. I think it had been actually listed for more than that in the previous year, but it was at 65 when we found it.
Yeah. We didn't pay 65 for it. Our first offer was 45K, which was turned down. So
then I went to view the boat.
Yeah.
So once I'd viewed the boat, we had negotiations, and the final price was
50K.
50K.
This is a 2014 model of the Mach E36.
Yeah, so she's only 6 years old.
She's had a bit of a tough life, but being a 2014 model, a lot of the stuff is still beautiful. And the
engines are in good condition. They're working. They are great. Yeah, we had a fuel tank issue.
And some belt issues. But that's just
small maintenance issues.
So 50K, this boat originally, when it was brand new in 2014, what was it, 300,000?
I think it was closer to 4. But
closer to 4. So we reckon we did get a good price on her. So what needs to be fixed then? The biggest one, I guess, would be the mast.
Well, there's different stuff. If you're talking fiberglass or talking rigging.
Oh, so well, you can do all the fiberglassing, right?
Okay, so I can do the fiberglass, so that doesn't count anymore. That doesn't count. He can do it. It's done. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So the biggest thing that we can't fix ourselves is the rigging. I am going to need to get assistance of a friend or a professional to hire in to do the rigging. That's nothing that I've worked with before. But by the time we've done it once, we'll be professionals. So if you need a hand with rigging afterwards, we'll give you a hand, no problem.
So if we were to get a brand new mast, rigging, boom, everything, there was a quote for $30,000, and that would be taking the boat to Florida. So otherwise, you have to pay more for delivery and shipping.
Yeah, it was all the parts delivered to Florida.
Yeah.
Any address in Florida was $30,000, and that included the mast, the boom, standing rigging, and also the crossbeam in the front, which actually isn't that bad. It has a tiny little dent in it. Not structural, but it's something that wanted to be changed.
But we have been looking on Harbour Shoppers, and there is in fact actually a mast here in Lupron that may possibly work, but we're not in a financial situation to be able to afford that at the moment, so we haven't really searched too hard.
The rigging is going on hold for now. We're going to stay as a power cat with 2 55-gallon diesel drums in the cockpit. The main tank's 55, plus we have the 2 55-gallon external tanks that we put on in the cockpit. So we're going to stay like that until we're back working again. We're going to keep working on the stuff which isn't too expensive. We've got some of the material, so we can just keep plodding along. But yeah, the big stuff is going to have to wait for a while. And fingers crossed the world comes back to a decent situation or some type of normal.
So how did we manage to afford 50K?
Yep.
Basically. So our old boat was the Catalina 36. We got super lucky that we were able to sell it in the Cayman Islands. And
we heard rumours that it was actually very hard to sell a boat there. But we got lucky by meeting Arnold
on the mannequin trip we showed you.
Trip. We'll put a link in for him as well. And he desperately needed a boat with a rig, a good solid monohull, not too expensive. And he came and checked out our boat, and he took it off our hands really a lot quicker than we thought was going to happen. We ended up homeless for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got lucky and we sold that boat there for $25,000.
And then we were working in Cayman for about a year. So we were saving up all our tips, all our money. We weren't indulging too much. We weren't going out that often. We were trying to save up as much as possible so that we could use our savings for the rest of it.
Yeah, We still went for a couple of beers after work, but we went home, cooked dinner, saved the money as much as possible. Because it's a very expensive country to live in. Okay, so obviously, you know the story so far. So we've sold the old boat, we bought the new one in Puerto Rico, hurricane damage, floating in a marina. Obviously, we needed to check she was fully seaworthy because we're trying to get her back home, which is a 1,000-mile trip. At this stage, we've only got as far as Lupron, which is 300 miles of the 1,000. Yeah. But she had to be checked out, and a lot of stuff had to be fixed. So we've obviously spent more money than the 50,000 just the purchase price. Yeah. A lot of things came involved in that. Do you want to explain a few bits and pieces there?
Yeah. So when we were in Puerto Rico, we managed to get a brand new battery bank. Fibreglassing supplies, VHF, AIS. We fixed the rudder problem. We had the seized rudder on the port side. Inverter charger. We got brand new solar panels with Victron controller. Engine servicing materials, brand new toilets, and then all of our living expenses, obviously, during that 3-month quarantine period where we were trapped in Puerto Rico. So on top of the 50K, it was then about 10K.
Around 10.
For those supplies plus our living expenses in Puerto Rico.
A lot of that was marina charges as well, because we were literally stuck. We weren't. They locked
As you know,
down
we
the
were
marina.
trapped.
It was against the law to move the boat, so we were stuck in a slip and having to pay. What were we paying a month in Puerto Rico?
$650.
About $650 a month for 3 months. That wasn't something we budgeted for.
No, and that was just something that happened because of COVID.
Yeah. Fortunately, we had to basically buy supplies. There's a fly on there, isn't there? We had to basically buy the supplies, the materials. We didn't. The only thing we had to actually get help with was straightening of the rudder post.
Yeah,
rudder
stock.
post. Yeah, rudder stock, rudder post.
Rudder post. Everything else we were able to do on our own. As you know, during that time in Puerto Rico, things were kind of sad and depressing because we didn't know how long this lockdown was going to continue on, and it's still going on now. Another 3 months later, so 6 months total now, and
Anyway,
we're making the most
of it, and the boat is coming along.
Yes. As you know from watching previous episodes, we are making progress on that hardtop, which is fantastic.
It's more comfortable on the back of the boat. We don't get the sun coming through and directly at the fridge, and so the hardtop is definitely working out. I know it's not finished, but it will be soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Close the humidity stuff. So you might ask, when buying a hurricane-damaged boat, how long will it actually take for the process to be completed? Our original plan was that we were going to pick up this boat. Davey was going to bring it back to Cayman Islands. I was going to stay there working. He was going to come back after about a month, continue working, and fix up the boat on the side. So with that plan,
literally wages coming in and working in the afternoons, evenings, that sort of stuff on the boat to produce videos for you guys. But we'd have two wages coming in, paying for the fix. That is now completely changed this time because tourism doesn't exist at the moment. There just isn't tourists, so we don't have jobs at this point. We're still waiting, fingers crossed, and hopefully things get back to normal. Hopefully in the new year. I've got a good feeling in the new year things are going to change, and we'll be able to get back to our original plan. So at this time we don't have a time frame on how long it's going to take us. We're just going to do it bit by bit.
The original plan before, we were going to work for at least another year in Cayman to save up the money to do the full refit. Now with COVID, I reckon that 1 year has probably turned into two and a half. By that point, hopefully the boat will have mast rigging, beautiful windows everywhere, a functioning door, perfect hardtop.
Part of our plan is actually to take this boat also to Guatemala. Yeah. It wasn't the plan for this hurricane season, but for the next hurricane season, we were trying to get all the fiberglassing work done, all the major repairs done, and take her back there where labor costs for very highly skilled people are at a lower premium. So I'd be able to get help from someone or a little team of people that would actually be able to help me do the repainting the boat. So all of the fiberglass repairs I've done, I'll get them perfectly ready for paint, and then we'll get some experts in to actually paint the boat, and she'll look spick and span and brand new again. Yeah. So that's still something that's going to happen, but when date-wise, whether it's one more season or whether it's two before we get that new paint job on, we don't know yet.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? The world is locked down.
Yeah, who knows what's going on in this world right now?
Who knows what the new normal will be?
to live on a boat with Eric. Apparently, I overspoke her on the camera, and now I'm paying for it. And I actually turned the camera back on to prove a point, because she never films that sort of stuff. She's kind of mean. Beautiful.
Stop hitting the table when you shake the camera.
You just whole clip.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I can crop that out. He does this all the time.
OCD. OCD.